or that in the amount of time you are able to listen, you're probably going to learn something about Scientology that you didn't know before. And for most people, what you learn is either going to be something that makes you giggle all night long, or it's going to shock you and you're going to be horrified by it. And you may actually experience a little bit of both. I know I do. I love the tomatoes thing. He hooks the E-meter up to a tomato. What is the point of that, Ford?
Oh, I suppose that that any quack will believe his magic will work on anything.
Okay. Before we get to the phone calls, tell me, you just told me in the break something I did not know, that EST was a spin-off of Scientology.
That's correct. We were talking during the break about squirreling, which is the Scientology term for changing the original language employed by L. Ron Hubbard. And Werner Erhard got his was a Scientologist, and he left Scientology and started EST and used some of the concepts and ideas that he learned in Scientology. So Werner Erhard, Scientology considered to be one of the original, if not most heinous squirrels.
Well, let's get some phone calls in here. And throughout this hour, I want to make sure that we do touch on psychiatry and that we also talk about the fair game policy. But first, I want to talk with Richard. Richard is calling from Sunnyvale. Hi, Richard. Welcome to KGO.
Hello.
Hi. You're on with Ford Green. Go ahead.
Well, I was listening to your program, and I didn't hear anyone say anything positive about Scientology. It amazes me that you can have a radio program, we know where you have this audience in front of you, and that you criticize somebody's religion, and it is a religion, no matter how you define it. You've created a straw man here, and now you're proceeding to knock it down. All you have to do is define it your own way. You define Scientology as a cult, and suddenly we have no rights.
Are you a Scientologist,
Yes,
Richard?
I am.
How long have you been involved?
45 years.
And at what level are you?
OT8.
Can you walk through walls?
Don't ask me stupid questions like that.
Isn't it one of the things that you're supposed to be able to do at that
No,
level?
it is not. I've heard one lie after another come out of this program, one after another after another.
Why don't you give us a couple of the biggest lies that you think that you've heard?
No, I really don't care to do that. That just puts me in the middle of your arena and lets you punch me around. The thing that I want to say is that there are thousands and thousands of Scientologists all over the world. There are prosperous organizations all over the world. There are people who are making the kind of gains and having the benefits that you're talking about.
I haven't talked about any gains. I have not talked about any gains or benefits because I don't believe there are any. But I'm open to hearing
your radio program.
But I'm open to hearing the gains.
It any way you want.
No, Richard,
punch it around any way you want.
Richard, I'm not arguing with you.
Defining
I'm
my
not arguing.
religion.
Richard, I'm asking you to tell me what the gains and benefits are to Scientologists. I'm not arguing with you. I want you to tell me.
Don't benefit from Scientology?
I'm asking you, in what way? Tell me the gains and benefits that Scientologists have.
They're really quite often the gains that have been criticized in your.
Give me an example.
I live a better life. I'm healthy. I have a 32-year marriage. We're happy. I have friends. I have a prosperous business. I'm helping people. People get off of drugs through Scientology. The technology works. It improves people's communication, helps them solve their problems in life, makes them more ethical.
Richard, as a Scientologist, is it one of, do you endorse the goal of clearing the planet?
Absolutely.
And so doesn't that mean that that your belief in Scientology is such that you think everybody in the world should be a Scientologist?
Yes, I do. I think everyone in the world is a Scientologist. It's just a matter of recognition.
And that's because we're all
in Scientology. If you actually look at the subject, I realize it's not the mission of the media to disseminate my religion and the principles of my religion, but you can't define it your own way and then just proceed to punch it apart as though no one had ever gotten any good out of it. People ought to realize that that's stupid.
Okay. Well, I I accept that you think this is a religion.
It is a religion.
I submit that it is a cult.
Well, you can call it a cult, and then you can kick it down.
Well, how would you define a cult? How would you differentiate between a religion and a cult?
The Romans
I don't think
murdered Christians for 300 years, just simply by defining it as a cult. And then you take, there's nothing more ridiculous in Scientology, if you want to ridicule my religion, there's nothing more ridiculous in Scientology than is to be found in any other religion. If you want to ridicule the virgin birth, if you want to ridicule...
I think XENU and the atomic bombs in the volcanoes is pretty ridiculous.
Show me where that is in the literature. The only place I know of that in the literature is in a screenplay that L. Ron Hubbard wrote called Revolt in the Stars.
Ford?
Well...
Yeah, you show me that in the literature.
Well,
you all agree on this. You all agree that this is some big principle of Scientology. It's nowhere in the literature. You show it to me.
Sure it is. Have you studied the? Are you familiar with the concept of body thetans, Richard? You must, since you're an OT8.
You're asking me to comment on things as an OT8. The materials of the OT levels are confidential in order to make them easy for people to reach.
Wait a minute. How do you make something?
So they're easy to reach? That's contradictory. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it is.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
On a gradient. Here again,
this is one of the reasons that it's a cult is because it's not the information about the beliefs is so secret.
You got the microphone in front of you.
Yeah, but you know what?
You can
answer the questions then, Richard.
Ink and 50-gallon drums, whereas all I am is one person who is saying that the upper-level materials of Scientology are confidential in order to protect them so that people can reach them on a gradient. That's the entire reason.
Does that mean...
No Scientologist will comment one way or the other if they know it's in those materials and on what is in them because I pledge not to. So
but there are some people who have left Scientology.
There's all of these things in it.
But there
there's
are
these
people,
guys,
Richard,
there's these volcanoes.
I'm going to let you talk, Richard. Richard, I'm going to let you talk.
Material.
Listen, I'm not trying to stop you from talking. I want you to talk. You're the first person who's called in who is a Scientologist, and I'm happy that you're here with us. But there are people who have reached the upper OT levels who then have left the Church of Scientology and who have exposed the material that they were taught at least at OT7. Isn't that true?
They're lies.
Why would they lie?
Well, they hate Scientology. You're promoting hatred. This is a hate program. If you were talking about Jews, the Nazis had great...
No, what I'm doing is I'm promoting...
They had big, thick books about what was the matter with the Jews.
Information and education.
Books, you can do anything you want to them.
Okay. Gord?
What Richard just said has been a common public relations ploy of Scientology that it's used for decades, and that has been to compare itself to the Jews in Germany in the 30s, and to say that anybody who is critical of Scientology is the equivalent of Hitler trying to come up with the final solution of the Jews. And it's just one of these public relations ploys that is really not legitimate. If you look at Germany now, Scientology is having a huge problem there because the German people have the most recent memory and experience of dealing with totalitarianism and recognize Scientology as being that. And to identify something as totalitarian doesn't mean that one is spreading hate. It means that one is identifying an influence in society that's malevolent. And it's a shame that we couldn't have a discussion where there was more give and take. But with cult members, that's not the way they operate.
Richard, one question, if you're willing to answer it. How much money did you spend to reach OT8?
I have contributed to the support of my church. I'm a Catholic. It is a precept of the church that if you don't contribute to the support of the church, you will be condemned. It's an article of any religion.
Are you talking about tithing to the Catholic Church or to the Church of Scientology?
What?
Are you talking about contributing to the Church of Scientology or contributing to the Catholic Church?
I'm talking about any religion that anyone is a part of.
No, you. I'm talking about you.
Cathedrals with pennies, you know.
No, this is true. It takes a lot of money. I would say hundreds of thousands of dollars. And how much has it come?
Being criticized because we can pay our bills.
No, but personally, how much have you spent getting to OT8?
I haven't spent anything. I've contributed to the support of my church.
Okay, so you see a difference between spending and contributing to the support of your church. You know, it's okay. All right. I think that's all we have to hear right now. We'll be right back. I'm Pat Thurston. Ford Green is my guest. We're talking about Scientology.